In a previous video, I talked about what I believe really is the primary cause of divorce, and that is simply problematic dependencies that originate in the mother child, father child early relationship, and how problems in that relationship will transition into your marriage. So, just as a quick recap to tell you what that early relationship is all about, the goal of this attachment is for the primary parent to create a very secure environment for the child so that that child can separate, not just physically. Physically, of course, a child learns to crawl crawl away from the parent or walk away, but also that they develop a kind of psychological independence from the primary parent so that they're able to function more on their own power than on their parents. In other words, what the parents are supposed to do is help the child to develop a strong sense of independence and self. But if the child grows into an adult without a strong sense of self, and again, let me remind you that there's no such thing as perfect parenting, so we all have certain weak links in our ability to function as strong, independent people. But if that's the case, what's going to happen is, without even realizing it, we're going to look to our partner to create that sense of security for us, rather than relying on ourselves. So let me say that again because it's very important. Because I work with people all the time where this kind of an issue contributes tremendously to the divorce. So if some of that primary security is missing when one reaches adulthood, unconsciously, one is going to look to their partner to feel that sense of security. So you might be thinking, so what's the problem? Well, the problem is that really you're not free. If you're looking to your partner, you're really not an autonomous, free, independent person running your own life. You're way more dependent on your partner than you should be. So today I'm going to talk about a very common type of dependency called codependence, which many of you have heard. I've also referred to it as a kind of insecure attachment to the primary figure. So if you're wondering whether or not you're codependent, you need not wonder anymore, because I am going to give you a list of some of the very typical codependent characteristics. And if you can relate to more than half of these, then you may well have some codependency issues that you need to take a look at. Okay, so here goes. You have low self-esteem. You're a people pleaser. You can often feel like a martyr. If you think about it, you needed a lot of approval and support from your spouse in order to feel good about yourself. Here are a couple more. You have a basic sense that you can't really take care of yourself. You need your spouse to do that. And if you don't get your way, what do? Well, sometimes you whine, sometimes you manipulate, you pout, okay? You are not really sure of your own needs and your own desires, so you kind of wait for your partner to tell you about that. You fear rejection, and here's an interesting one. During the marriage, you probably thought, if only my spouse would change, then everything would be okay. You didn't really occur to you to look to yourself and to see what role you were contributing. So again, if you can relate to over half of those, then chances are really good that you were more externally focused during your marriage than internally focused. So what do you do about it? Well, basically, in a nutshell, you have to surrender the dream of dependency, that someone else is going to take care of you, because it's no one else's responsibility to do that. And in its place, you have to learn to trust and depend on your own ability to cope with life. So how do you do this? Well, you have to become more self-aware and identify your own insecurities rather than looking outward to your partner. So with this kind of introspection, what's happening really is that it's an opportunity for self-growth. So let me recap. A major part of the post-divorce healing, which I've talked about and I will continue to talk about, is learning to become independent and autonomous so you are fully capable of relying on yourself. That does not mean that you don't have a good interdependency with your partner, something I'll talk about in a future video. But for now, please stay tuned for my next video, in which I'm going to talk about another common dependency problem, which also can wreak havoc on your marriage. Thank you.